I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in search of a PS1 and luckily I found one in a newspaper ad. Must have been around 1998 or so, and at the time, I couldn't care less what came with the PS1 as I was all in on Final Fantasy VII and that was going to be the first game that I was going to buy. The PS1 did come with a game though. Which game was it? Resident Evil. I knew that it was scary, I haven't played it yet, and quite frankly, I really didn't care. It's funny to look back on now. Resident Evil is the first game in the vaunted Resident Evil series, developed and published by Capcom, led by the great Shinji Mikami, and released on March 22nd of 1996. While there were horror games before Resident Evil, to me this is the survival horror video game. Your objective is to push on, stay alive with limited ammo and inventory, and solve puzzles. What more do you need? You have the choice between playing as STARS members Jill Valentine, aka Easy Mode, or Chris Redfield, aka Hard Mode. You were sent to investigate grisly murders that occurred on the outskirts of Raccoon City. One thing leads to another and you find yourself trapped in a big-ass spoopy mansion after being chased inside by zombie dogs. At this point you're trying to gather clues as to what's going on, find your fellow Bravo Team STARS members, and ultimately stay alive. There's lots of twists, turns, and different endings, and differences depending on which character you choose, and I'll let you figure that stuff out for yourself. Resident Evil's graphics at the time were really cool. Resident Evil employed the use of pre-rendered backgrounds that are eye-catching, and the opening CGI cutscene with the first zombie encounter is one of gaming's most memorable moments. They've aged poorly in comparison to that of the upcoming sequels, but this game did come out in 1996, so I'm not quite sure what you'd expect otherwise. The soundtrack, as always, is memorable. The main hallway of the mansion, the save room, the plin, 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 plin of the downstairs water box puzzle room, and so forth lend to the game's oppressing and terrifying atmosphere. That being said, the voice acting is honestly some of the worst I've heard in my life. In fact, it's so bad that it's actually hilarious, and I like it, non-ironically. It's like, awful. It's a meme by now, obviously. Jill Sandwich, Enrico, the list goes on, but it holds a special place in my heart. Since this is the original Resident Evil, you guessed it, the birth of the RE tank controls. Again, to someone like me, I don't mind it at all. But to people who aren't versed in the classic RE series, this may be make or break for them. Once you get used to it though, it's like riding a bike. Overall, Resident Evil isn't that difficult. I honestly barely played the original Resident Evil at all since I was a kid until recently, and I was actually able to do a knife-only run with Chris without much practice at all. Just check out the link in the description below if you wanted to see that. That being said, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get easily lost, and if you aren't an RE series vet, this game can be frustrating with the lack of direction, the controls, inventory management, and so on. I do get it. The replay value of Resident Evil is actually very high. There's 4 endings for each character, so technically 8 in total. The endings depend on your interactions throughout your playthrough. Will you find and save your STARS team members? Will you be the lone survivor? All that's up to you. There's so many different versions of Resident Evil that we could be here for a while discussing it, but I'm just focusing on the base game, no extra content, and the version that I've been playing is the Japanese PC version with the classic REBirth patch. Hello, door skipping! It's a great time. Resident Evil is a game and series that is near and dear to my heart. If you played the Resident Evil remake and haven't played the original, you do owe it to yourself to do so. This game is a pioneer, it's legendary, and will go down in history as probably the most influential scary/survival horror game of all time. I give the original Resident Evil an 8.5 out of 10. It's just damn fun. Should you play it in 2020? I'll let Enrico take it away.
Yeah?